Bobby Gray here, founder and fearless leader of TEXITcoin. Thanks so much for joining me. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the case for TEXITcoin. And the reason for that is because as we're out there spreading the message of TEXITcoin, it's very rare that we really have a long time to sit down and get into the details of the history of money and all the things that have happened to bring us to this moment in time where we are today, where we're doing something as audacious as starting our own digital currency in Texas. Like, how many opportunities do we have to really tell the whole story? And so as you're out there communicating the ideas of TEXITcoin with people, I want you to know at least what those background things are that have brought us to where we are today, so that if you're asked questions, you have good answers for those. So whether you get into them or not, it's important that you know, and I want to share some of that with you today. So today we're going to talk about the case for TEXITcoin. It's not really like the official elevator pitch, but we'll end up there sooner or later, maybe, if I do a good job on my little script that I prepared for us today. So I want to talk first about the history of money. There we are. Let's take a real quick look at money over the ages. Money is so important in civilization, and it's been around for so long as part of the social contract that it's very rare for us to stop and think about what it is, how it works, where it comes from, what are the mechanics of money. So I wanted to put a couple graphics in front of you to show you like what money is, how we got to where we are today. So for a while we bartered, we traded, then we used shells and clams. That didn't work. And eventually we landed for a very long time on gold, silver, and copper coins. And copper is an interesting one that most people don't know about. You know, money back in the day, gold was considered the money of kings and princes. Silver was the money of gentlemen, but really copper is what they used in the marketplace for, like, you know, buying stuff and making change. So gold, silver, and copper, they've been around for a very long time. They worked for a very long time. And before we start to really get into the depths of it, it's interesting to note how much money has changed in just the last 100 years or so. You know, gold and silver worked, gold, silver, copper worked for like a couple thousand years. And now all of a sudden, just in the last 100 years, do we go very quickly from gold, silver to warehouse receipts to paper money, then to plastic money, and on to digital money. And I think it's interesting that digital money is represented here in this picture by Bitcoin, but really digital money is other stuff like Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, all these things that allow people to beam money from one person to another. But we don't ever have to pull out a credit card or an ATM card or pop in a PIN code to do that. And so, so we've really seen an amazing acceleration of money over the last 100 years. And my theory is that that acceleration probably lines up very nicely with technology. You know, it's really technology and technological advancements that are driving not just what we can do with money, but also like how fast we need money to work. And so, you know, gold and silver, they're slow. If you want to take money to the market, you've got a pocket full of heavy coins. It's difficult to make change. And it certainly doesn't work very well for sending value from one side of the world to the other. So my assumption is that as the world gets a little bit smaller and we're able to do business with people on the other side of the planet, that money has evolved to keep up with the growing global demand for trade. And so, so again, money has evolved a lot over the last couple thousand years, but really a lot of that advancement is just in the last 100 years. And the problem is that the less real money gets, the easier it becomes to artificially create it from nothing. And even paper money has some advantages. You know, in the Weimar Republic before World War II, it was actually less expensive to burn paper money for heat and for cooking than it was to use that paper money to go out and buy firewood and cooking materials. And so you can see this progression, you know, advance over time. And, you know, you've probably heard the story about hyperinflation in Zimbabwe and how they're making like these trillion-dollar notes so that you can go out and buy breakfast with it. So, even paper money has a bit of a limitation that doesn't exist the same way when it comes to zeros and ones in somebody's, digital bank account. So again, I think it's very interesting that they use Bitcoin to tell the story of digital money, but digital money was really around long before Bitcoin showed up. So when the government makes money, where does it go? When the government fires up the printing press and you hear about things like inflation, or hear about things like the M3, the money supply, like where does that money go? Does it go to you and me? Like every time the government's printing new money, do we get a check in the mail, or do we log into our bank account and there's just more money in there? Well, sometimes that does happen through direct economic stimulus, but most of the time that money doesn't go to you and me. That money actually ends up going to banks and mega corporations. In fact, most of the new money that goes into circulation today goes into circulation through the Federal Reserve buying bonds for large, worthless companies directly off the open market. And we call these companies zombie corps. What is a zombie corp? A zombie corp is a company, and now they're saying in a recent article, June 7th, 2024, that the number of debt-laden zombie companies soars to 7,000. And a lot of these are big companies, like big names, household name, Fortune 500s. I think they say about half of the Fortune 500 companies of the US today are zombie companies. What is a zombie company? A zombie company is a company that would fail to exist. They would go out of business. They would go bankrupt if not for direct cash infusion from the Federal Reserve. So if the Federal Reserve, our nation's central bank, wasn't buying buying bonds of these companies directly off the open market, they wouldn't have enough money to make payroll and they wouldn't survive. So that's how money gets into circulation. The Federal Reserve orders it up from the Bureau of Printing and Engraving. They then lend it out to banks, or they directly buy bonds of these companies, many of which are worthless companies. Those companies have hundreds of thousands of employees. You've heard too big to fail plenty of times. And so the money goes to these companies. The companies make the payrolls, and then the people that work for those companies go out and they shop. And that's how our economy really keeps chugging along. So the question is, what would happen if the Federal Reserve stopped performing these direct cash injections with these giant companies? Well, here's the other bad news about it. The banks and these big corporations get the money from the Federal Reserve. What do they do with it? Yeah, they'll make their payrolls, but all of a sudden now they'll pretend like they're doing really well. They'll do a stock buyback from the market. They'll show that their stock for that company is performing incredibly well. And then they give themselves bonuses. And what all this fake money leads to is this ever widening wealth gap where the people that are rich, the people that own these megacorps, the top people at the top of the food chain, the people that are directly connected or as closely connected as you can get to the money supply, to the money printers, to the Federal Reserve, those guys, they end up getting it first and they end up getting richer and richer. And if you look at what happened with the wealth gap in America over the last couple of years, especially since COVID took off and the money printers went into overdrive, the wealth gap has gotten so wide in this country. What does that mean? It means the rich people have a lot of money and the poor people are having less and less, or not just poor people, but the middle class. So all of a sudden now, most middle class people, the guys that, dad used to work and as a plumber or an electrician, he was able to take 2-3 weeks of vacation time with his family. He had a pension. Mom stayed home. She was the family nutritionist. She took care of, raising the children, teaching them basic skills. All that's gone now. That middle class is like almost entirely gone. Now we need mom and dad to work, sometimes multiple jobs. They send the kids off to, the public schools because there's just no time anymore to run a family the right way, the old fashioned way. And so as the middle class gets squeezed, they end up working harder and the money goes not nearly as far as it used to. And that is what happens with fake money. So again, we go back and we look at the history of money. There was always an opportunity for manipulation over the years and with the different forms of money. Gold, you can make a fake gold coin. You can, you can cut off the ends of silver coins to shave off some of that silver. So people always played around with money. They took advantage of it the best they could. But as money moved further and further towards, paper and then zeros and ones, now it's like all they have to do is go into Congress, draft up a bill, tell their friends that they're going to send billions of dollars off to some foreign nation in the form of aid. They don't really ask anyone's permission. They don't really listen to the constituents to see whether or not this is a good idea. They cook this money up out of thin air and they send it off wherever they want. And it usually ends up back in the pockets of their friends and family. So the more fake money is, the more it accelerates the gap between the middle class and the wealthy, thus squeezing the middle class and making more people that are struggling. And so what's really interesting about today, so Elon Musk shared this picture a couple days ago on his Twitter page. This is the evolution of money. Silver, then we had these silver certificates. As you can see, it says $1 redeemable by bearer on demand. Then we have paper money that's no longer backed up. And then all of a sudden, the next step for us is hyperinflation. There's that $50 trillion Zimbabwe note. And the prediction there is obviously that the next step is violence. And let's certainly hope that we're here in time to prevent that from happening. How? Why? Well, we've got this thing called Bitcoin. Enter Bitcoin. They write the white paper in 2008. The first block of Bitcoin is mined in 2009. And Bitcoin ends up being this revolutionary concept. We've been marching steadily towards the centralization of money and currency, which, like we said, is completely central to the concept of civilization. The concept of civilization is that we're going to get ourselves together in some sort of orderly fashion. We're not going to just smash each other's skulls every day when we want their stuff. We're going to work and then we're going to trade. Well, we can barter. Okay, our system grows a little bit more. Now we need to develop something to keep track of who owes who what. We use shells, we use clams, we use tally sticks, we use all kinds of different things. We settle on gold and silver for a long time. And then all of a sudden, that money starts becoming more and more elastic, more fake. We switch over, like we saw here, to these warehouse receipts where we use this convenient paper money, but that paper money is always backed up by that real money, that gold and silver. Then all of a sudden we take the backing away. And now we have money that barely resembles the value that it's supposed to represent. And then all of a sudden, next couple steps are hyperinflation. We make the money out of thin air, and now we just make the zeros and ones out of thin air. So Bitcoin shows up on the scene 2008, 2009, and again, it's very coincidental that this is happening at about the exact same time that I'm starting the American Open Currency Standard. We all see this problem. We all know that the money is completely corrupt. We all know that we've lost about 99% of our purchasing power of our dollar since it came out in 1913. I started working on creating gold and silver as a currency, and Satoshi Nakamoto, probably not his real name, begins working on a digital alternative to creating a currency. Well, here's what's revolutionary about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency. For the first time, almost ever, for the first time in a very long time, we've got a form of money that requires no central authority. There's no bank, there's no government, there's nobody out there that keeps a ledger of who owes who what. There's nobody out there that's keeping track of balances, transactions. There's no central authority that's keeping track of those things. Instead, it's peer-to-peer. There's a community of participants that are verifying transactions and keeping track of balances. That's it. It's revolutionary. We don't need a central authority. We just need a bunch of people to participate in this peer-to-peer system. It's the first time that a form of money is created with a limited supply. There are only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created. How many dollars are out there today? Does anyone really know? I mean, if you add up all the actual dollars, the real money supply, the dollars and quarters and like all the money that we have in our bank account, and we try to figure out if we're going to be able to pay off all of the debt that we have, car notes, mortgages, credit cards, student loans, like we're not able to even put a tiny scratch in the amount of debt. So we don't really even know how much paper money is out there because a lot of it now is just debt. It's money that's owed somewhere and we'll never have enough cash in existence to pay off those debts. So crypto, Bitcoin, digital currency, cryptocurrency for the first time puts a cap on how much they're actually going to have. There's going to be 21 million of them. It's the first time where it becomes impossible with today's resources to hack or fake it. I mean, it's pretty easy to make a fake gold or silver coin. There's not a lot of people out there that would be able to tell the difference between a real silver eagle and a fake silver eagle. They're that good at making counterfeit gold and silver coins now. And so with Bitcoin, we have this thing that's impossible to hack and it's impossible to counterfeit because the system uses cryptography. It uses cryptography to verify whether or not a Bitcoin, a digital coin that's being circulated in the network, was actually created by the network in the first place. And so this is a revolutionary idea. It's the first time that anybody can participate in a monetary system without having to set up an account. You don't have to go through a government. You don't have to go through PayPal. You don't have to go walk down to a Chase or a Bank of America branch to open an account. You can join and participate in the economy almost instantaneously and without approval from anyone, anywhere whatsoever. If you've got value to contribute to the crypto economy, set up a wallet and you're off to the races. So this is what makes cryptocurrency so exciting because it's revolutionary in the landscape of money, in the landscape of the evolution or devolution of money, going from something that was real and tangible to something that was paper to something that was, zeros and ones to now something that actually gives the people a real chance at establishing a monetary system that can prove to be the economic foundation of a just and civil society. That's a pretty audacious goal, but here's what happened. It almost worked. That's the mind-blowing part. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can talk here. Hold on, where's my button? That's the mind-blowing part. The mind-blowing part is we got so close. Well, what happened? Bitcoin took off, for 7-8 years. It was kind of obscure. Most people didn't know about it. It was gray market, black market stuff. A lot of people made up rumors about it. Oh, it's just used for money laundering and terror financing. No, 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 no. The largest segment of the global economy right now that's actually growing is the gray market. What's the gray market? The gray market is the off the books businesses that maybe aren't licensed, maybe didn't go down to their county office to register for a, DBA, but they're out there doing something. They're driving around doing Uber Eats. They're selling something on the side of the road in a tourist area. The segment of the global economy that's actually growing today, right now, is called the gray market. And crypto is an amazing tool for the gray market to participate. But it got a lot of bad press. People said, oh, they're doing bad things with Bitcoin. Some of it was true, sure, but not all of it. The gray market loved it because they were able to participate and they didn't need permission from PayPal to do so. But Bitcoin took off. And when Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin mining, that was the mechanism that he thought was going to be useful for someone to sit at their desk and participate in this crypto economy by helping secure and back up the transactions. Every person that was mining on their desktop PC was helping to make that network stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, sooner or later, people figured out that you could make supercomputers that mined it a lot more effectively than you could mine it on your home computer. And then that's when the supercomputers really got wild, and all those chips that are needed to produce those computers, we call them ASICs, are produced overseas, mostly in China and Taiwan. And so all of a sudden, the miners over in East Asia had a huge benefit from mining crypto. And they ended up starting to take the lion's share of the mining reward by virtue of the fact that they were the ones that were making the computers that mine crypto the best. And so through that process, 2017, 2018, 2019, we saw this huge movement towards centralization in Bitcoin. And now, today, who owns most Bitcoin? Banks, mega corporations, foreign nations. It's really interesting. You go to these big crypto events and you hear them just being so thankful and grateful that BlackRock has entered the Bitcoin movement. And there's now an Ethereum ETF, an exchange traded fund out there for cryptocurrency. And it's like, no, 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 no. This is what we were trying to avoid in the first place. We want the people to own the currency. We want individuals to be in control of the money. We don't want the banks and the mega corporations to control most of it. And that's unfortunately where it is today. But look at that. We got so close. We were right there with our ability to place control of the issuance and the security and the stability of currency back in the hands of the individuals. We were that close. It was a great idea. So many elements of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are spot on. I cannot say enough good things about that. And it's taken me a long time to reach that moment of clarity. 12 years since I've known about Bitcoin. 7 years since I created a Bitcoin cold storage wallet. So it's taken a long time in my mind to be able to connect all these dots together and see cryptocurrency for what it really is. The things that kept me from accepting those things, number one, jealousy, envy of the crypto kids that got filthy rich while I was working my butt off making gold and silver coins, and the complete, misunderstanding about what a currency is and its role as a store of value. I figured those things out. We've already talked about that. I won't get into it now. But crypto is a great idea. And now all we have to do is this one little thing. We need to bring it back to its decentralized roots, to its peer-to-peer fundamental structure. Take it out of the hands of the banks and mega corporations and put it back in the hands of individuals. And if only we had like a founder and fearless leader who was experienced enough, brave enough, and maybe just a little crazy enough to take on this challenge. And that's exactly what TEXITcoin is. That's the long version of the TEXITcoin story. TEXITcoin exists for two reasons. We have two things that we're doing. One is we're building the world's largest decentralized crypto mine. What do I mean by decentralized? Remember, we're manufacturing our own special hardware so that you can have your own crypto mine at your house, plugged in next to your Wi-Fi router, and be mining at home with a device that uses regular power, doesn't make a lot of heat, doesn't make a lot of noise. That's what we're doing right now. And I just today got confirmation back from the supplier that they're able to do it at the price point that we need for this whole thing to work. But we don't want to run gigantic data centers here. It sets up single points of failure. Sets up too many places where something can go wrong. We want the mining to be done in your house. We want you to be in control of the security and the stability and reliability of your money. And that's how we're going to do it. That's one mission. We're building the largest decentralized mine that's owned by individuals, not by banks, not by mega corporations, and not by foreign nations. So that's our first mission. Now, on the other side, we're establishing an alternative, complementary digital currency. This is what I'm good at. This is what I started doing back in 2008 with the American Open Currency Standard, using gold and silver coins in a barter system all around my area here in Dallas. And then it spread through the American Open Currency Standard all over the country. And it worked. And we were able to get all kinds of businesses and providers participating in our system. It took a long time. It took years to establish something that was reliable and working. And I think we're going to do it 1,000 times faster now with digital currency, especially because Bitcoin's cleared the path for us. People understand what digital currency is now, and it's not as far-fetched as me walking in 16 years ago and saying, "Hey, I'd like to pay you in silver coins." How does that sound? So this is our other objective. So one objective on one side is to build the world's largest decentralized mine. And on the other side of our mission, we're going around and we're inviting merchants and business owners to participate, to accept TEXITcoin and in payment of goods and services. Why is that so important? Well, because we're establishing a currency. And that's the whole point of a currency. The point of a currency is to be able to use it to pay for goods and services. That's it. Now, Bitcoin and other cryptos have become these speculative gambling, get rich quick investment opportunities. And let me make no mistake here. Let me be extremely clear and tell you that I want us to have that advantage and get rich along the way as well. But our primary goal is to build the mine and establish a usable currency to be the foundation of the new free and independent Republic of Texas. So those are the things that I work on every day. All these other tools and resources and technologies that we put together to make that possible exist outside of those two core strategies and objectives. So remember, on one side, we're building the world's largest privately owned decentralized mine. And on the other side, we're we're inviting merchants and businesses to participate with us in the usage of our own currency. Okay. Those are the mission. That's the mission. Those are the missions. Those are our objectives as we follow the path of establishing TEXITcoin as a viable, usable currency for us in and around Texas. And then hopefully it spreads throughout the nation and world at that point. Okay. So that's TEXITcoin in a nutshell. And it's extremely important for us to remember that and focus on that because, and I'm going to share my screen again here with you, because a lot of people right now in our team and organization are focused very closely on what's happening today on DexTrade. Now, DexTrade is the place where we have our currency listed for trading. Okay. And so it's fascinating. It's exciting. We want to see the currency rise. We want to see the price go up, but that's not why we're here. I want to remind you of that. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I get to work on our mission, building the mine and establishing a usable currency. Take a quick break. To do that, we need to build the technology, the wallets, the merchant hardware, all those things go into making it so that people can exchange TEXITcoin with business owners and pay for goods and services. Okay, so that's what we're working on right now. When I wake up in the morning, that's what I do. I don't care if the price of TEXITcoin is up, and I don't care if the price of TEXITcoin is down. Our TEXITcoin trading market right now is extremely fragile. It's going to continue to be extremely fragile until we have more buyers interested in acquiring TEXITcoin than we have sellers who are interested in selling and monetizing TEXITcoin and turning it back into USD and USDT. And so as we're working through these different strategies, we're also out there trying to engage the public and get interest in TEXITcoin. How do we do that? Podcasts, influencers, interviews, article writing, social media. We're going to be going over to Asia in a couple months and promoting our project over there as well. So we have a lot of things that we're doing and going to do to generate interest from the market in general in acquiring the digital asset that is TEXITcoin. And they'll go to DexTrade to do that. Okay. But again, what we need to do is we need to stay focused on our core mission, building the mine and establishing a reputable currency. And my prediction to you, my projection and my commitment to you is that as we establish the milestones and the steps that we need to take to move towards our major goals, as we begin to accomplish those things and we put the news of that out to the world, that is what will give people an interest in long-term participation in our currency. Okay, so right now the market for TEXITcoin it's wafer thin. As we go out there and promote it, as we tell people about it, that market gets larger. And that's great. And what you'll normally see there is the price go up. But remember, we're going to see a yo-yo effect that hopefully starts to get smaller and level out as our project progresses further and further along. We're brand new right now. In fact, I think we're 15 or 16 weeks into launching this project. Brand new means young, it means volatile, but it also means ground floor. So if you like what we're doing, if you want to participate, pick up a handful of TEXITcoin on DexTrade or join the mining program. These are the ways that you can get involved. Soon, if you're a business owner, we'll invite you to participate by accepting TEXITcoin for the sale of your goods and services. As soon as we have our mobile wallet done and we have the merchant tools ready, we're going to have our own pizza day down in Plano at a friend's restaurant that's very excited to accept TEXITcoin for pizza. In fact, he's even said he's considering, once this thing gets established, exclusively accepting payment in TEXITcoin for pizza. And it's the same way we started this back in 2008, with one business spreading to multiple businesses, trading together, old-fashioned barter, just like the good old days, and it works. Okay, we know how to do it. We're building the tools to make it possible to do that with TEXITcoin. So it'll take a little while. But as we work through these milestones, as we achieve these technological advancements, and we're able to communicate that to the world, that's when the world starts looking at this and saying, wow, this is a real project. This is not a pump and dump scheme. It's not an influencer push. It's not something that we want to jump in and speculate and, crash the market. This is a real project that might be going somewhere. Let's buy and hold for a little while. So we want the buyers to outnumber the sellers. And when that happens, we'll see the price steadily moving up in the right direction. Any one of us right now can probably go to DexTrade, dump all of our coins and crash the price all the way down. And it'll take us a day or two to build our price back up through the interest that's developed. So here's the deal. And I don't have a really great way of saying this yet. You're just going to get the truth. We'll work through it and figure out what it is. But with TEXITcoin being live on DexTrade right now, which is a real exchange, we don't control it. It is the market in general. What we're trading right now is we're trading this initial volatility for honesty and transparency. Okay, what we could do is we could say, no, we're just going to build the mine. We're going to work our mission. We're not going to be on any public exchange for a year or 2 years. Our official launch date, as you may recall, is March 2nd, 2025. But that is asking you to look into the future a long way and cross your fingers and trust and believe. Okay, well, that's one way of doing it. We want to do it the other way. We want to do it as honestly and as transparently as we can, which means that today, right now, we're live on an open exchange, which means that you and anybody else can go there anytime you want and buy or sell TEXITcoin. And we encourage that. We want that to happen. We want you to participate in TEXITcoin any way that you like. But what we will lose right now on the front end in volatility, I think we gain in transparency. So that's the trade-off. We have a real asset. It's on the real market. It's available right now for anyone to go and look at. You don't have to guess as to what it's worth. You can see it right now, right in front of you. In fact, it also shows up in your app. Okay, but we're just getting started. We've got a long way to go as we work through those milestones and establish TEXITcoin as a real currency. Remember, that's the mission. We're not here to have a quick get rich quick, pump and dump thing. We expect for this thing to rise and us to get rich along the way as we go. If we do a good job, we should get rich, but we're just beginning. And so remember, you'll see a large, big series up and down the same way we saw it with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was up double, triple, and then it was down 80%. So don't expect anything different. But I encourage you to try not to get too fixated on the price in dollars of TEXITcoin at any one moment. It could be 2 cents. It could be 12 cents. It does not affect me in any way. One, I'm holding my coins until the bitter end. And number two is every day when I wake up, I don't look at the price. I know what I have to do to get the job done and to take TEXITcoin where we want it to go. Okay. Look at it, watch it. It's fun when it's moving in the right direction. It's stressful when it's moving in the wrong direction, but it's early and we've got a long way to go to accomplish our goal, get TEXITcoin out there as a legitimate currency for people to use for goods and services in the marketplace. This is our core capability, competency. We're very good at it, and I expect us to be just as good, if not 1,000 times better, doing it now with a digital currency. But rest assured that digital currency is the future of money, and rest assured that TEXITcoin is going to be the most honest, transparent, and open version of digital currency out there. Our goal, a top crypto on the top 100 list, top 20 list, top 10 list. We're shooting for number one. We're not messing around. We've got the leadership, we've got the skills, we've got the experience. All those things are good. We've got a great team. We've got a great technology. Our network has run perfectly ever since we got our security fixes implemented. So that's been great. So we're chugging along. Okay. But remember, it's still extremely early in our project. Our official start date, March 2nd, 2025. That's next year. That's Texas Independence Day. So watch us, participate with us, grab a handful. It's very early. They're very cheap right now. I don't expect it to be there for very long. But again, what we put out there is open and honest on a real exchange. It's not manipulated. It's not faked. It's real. And we encourage you to remember that we want to put it out there so that you have an opportunity to look at it anytime you want, if you want, and see exactly where we are. You can use that as a barometer of our performance, but it's going to have wild swings up and down. The best thing to do is to keep an eye on our two missions, our mission of building the mine and our mission of establishing the currency. Keep an eye on those milestones. We'll publish our roadmap in just the next couple of days. Keep an eye on those milestones and see how we're doing. If we're accomplishing our goals, then we expect that the price of TEXITcoin on the open market is moving in the same direction with our project. We expect it to move up as our project does well out there in the real world. So that's the introduction to TEXITcoin. It took a little bit longer than I hoped it would, but I'm going to work on writing all this up in a bit of a blog post so that you can get some more in-depth detail about the evolution of money, how quickly we've gone from, gold and silver that worked for thousands of years to, paper money that we can just print up out of thin air, and how cryptocurrency, currency that's peer-to-peer, currency that has strict limitations on supply side, how that might just be the thing that can save civilization after all. Again, I believe that if the money is honest, then we have a chance to deal with each other on a level playing field. And if we can do that, then we might just have a chance of saving the world. That's my mission. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder and fearless leader of TEXITcoin. I thank you for sharing your time with me this evening, and I look forward to catching you again Tuesday on our mining chat, or a week from today, which we'll be doing live from Richardson, where we've got a great event going down here in Dallas. So thanks again for joining me. Have a great weekend.